Hey everyone in the Facebook world, this is Rebekah with the Tailored Realty team,
And I'm Mike with the Tailored Realty team.
and we are here for another stunning rendition of Tailored Tuesday. Our topic for today is
We are going to be going over the market update. So it is going to be over December, what happened in 2020 versus 2019, and then what we can expect headed into the new year as well.
all right. So I'm sure that all of you are at the edge of your seats wondering what is going on with the real estate market. And rest assured, we are here to tell you exactly what is going on. So the burning question that we get all the time is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market?
And it is a seller's market still. So the same has been for the past multiple months. We are still seeing a major lack of inventory and a lot of buyer demand. So it's still a seller's market. Inventory is down 1.2 months of supply, it was 2.1 months last year in 2019. So a big drop. There's still a ton of demand. So seller's market for sure.
That's right. Yes. So it's definitely a seller's market. So sellers, this is a really good time to cash in on your investment. So if you're thinking about selling, if you've considered it in any sort of way, now is the time to do it because not only will you get top dollar for your house, but you're in a prime position to snag a very low interest rate. So interest rates are still at historic lows. Um, and so a lot of people are looking at refinancing, they're looking at purchasing something else because your buying power as a buyer is substantially higher than it would be even last year because of the interest
Yeah. And so there's a lot of buyers who are wondering, I'm going to wait till the market drops and things like that. We're really not seeing any indicator of it shifting to a buyer's market, but because of the interest rates, it's still good to, the payments are going to be lower because of those interest rates, which helps you in the long run, saving you money over the course of your mortgage.
Right. So let me touch on that a little bit further. So I get asked this question pretty much daily: is inventory going to drop? Are prices going to fall? Maybe I should just wait until prices do fall. And what I would say is, yeah, we've seen a little bit of the East and the West Coast seeing a little bit of a shift from a seller's market over to a buyer's market. But the Twin Cities is considered to be a little bit more isolated. So because of the number of Fortune 500 positions jobs that we have here, we have an influx of buyers moving into the Twin Cities market and not that many people that are actually leaving. So the Twin Cities is considered to be very isolated. So it's more like a bubble of inventory right here. And there's no economist, there's nobody else that says that they're expecting there to be a drop in the number of buyers that are looking to buy in the Twin Cities. So, I mean, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know exactly what things are going to look like, but we are not seeing any sort of an indication that we're going to see any sort of a drop in price. We're not going to see any sort of housing collapse that we saw like in 2007, 2008. So we haven't seen any indication of that. Like I said, no crystal ball, but all of the data is saying that we should be expecting it to continue to be a strong seller's market, and we don't expect it to ease up anytime soon, which actually means that we expect the inventory to appreciate, meaning that the prices are going to be going up. We expect that the prices will be going up again in the spring.
As well as more homes just hitting the market in the spring as well. Where you think there's going to be pretty steady throughout the next coming months, but when spring comes around, we do think there's going to be obviously more listings as more and more people are looking to buy
Right.
and sell.
So if you are a buyer, the question is, should you wait right now or should you hope that things are going to be changing? And my advice would be, if you're thinking about buying a house, that you should get in there right now and start looking. Because not only do you get a really low interest rate, but you have less competition. So as Mike was alluding to, yeah, we typically do expect that there's going to be more inventory in the springtime. That's typically when a lot of sellers come out of the woodworks. However, with more inventory means that there are more buyers and more competition, and then that jacks up the price. So what I was saying with appreciation is that typically our appreciation that we realize in the Twin Cities market is in that springtime market. So it's sometime between February and April, depending on what the weather looks
So if you are a buyer and looking to get out and find a place, it could be of your benefit to get out and start looking now to avoid some of the buyer competition in the springtime.
like. Right. And if you're looking to buy, I know a great agent that can help you. All right. So what did we see this year versus last year?
As far as how many showings a seller can expect and things like that, we are seeing about 9 showings to get a pending or to get an accepted offer. Last year it was 7, and so part of that is the reason that there's more buyers and there's not as many homes for sale, so more of the same buyers are seeing the same properties. That's why you see more showings this year versus last
Right. And inventory is actually down 16% this year versus last year. And that's a very important statistic to remember is that inventory is down 16%, which means that there's a lot less sellers that are willing to sell than buyers that are willing to buy. So yes, activity is down just a little bit this year versus last year, but that's the reason why we're seeing more showings per offer than we did last year is because we have to have more showings. So if you're a seller, you should expect that you'll have at least 9 showings before you have an accepted offer.
And when it comes to days on market, with the showings being so high, days on market is lower. So we are seeing, I mean, it's not unreasonable to say that you could get an accepted offer just over the weekend. We are seeing houses go in a couple of days all the way to a couple of weeks. And so when you're talking about price and how much you can get for your house, the longer your house is sitting on the market, the less you're going to get for sales price.
Yep, that's right. So we still are seeing that the strongest activity that you'll have when you list your house is within the first 7 days of it being on the market. So buyers, take note that if you are looking at a property that is within the first 7 days of it being on the market, there's a high likelihood that other buyers will be interested in that property as well, because that's the first crack that people would have of seeing the property. It's like a hot new listing, right? So if a property has been on the market for the first 7 days, it's highly likely that other people might be interested as well. After those first 7 days, then activity starts to slow down. So if you are a seller, it is not in your best interest to overprice your house. Buyers do know if you're trying to sell your house for $1 million and it's only worth 200, buyers do know that. So just because it's a seller's market doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want to do. The house still needs to appraise and it still needs to garnish the interest of the buyer.
And if it does sit on the market for longer, well, every buyer starts to mention, well, what's wrong with the house? It's been on the market for 2 weeks. Everything else is selling quicker. Then they think something's up with your house, and that's why you get less in sales price and it just sits even longer.
That's right. And so speaking of what do prices look like? So in the Twin Cities, year on year, we typically see homes appreciate about 5 to 6%. In 2020, because there was such a lack of inventory, we saw homes actually appreciating over 7%. That's a full percentage point higher than what they typically do. Now, again, I don't expect that to go falling backwards. I don't expect home prices to drop. It's going to be appreciating more. So even though homes have appreciated more than what they typically do, it still is financially beneficial for a buyer to get out there and start looking because your interest rates are so low. I know I personally locked in at an interest rate just below 4% several years ago, and at the time that was an awesome rate. However, now that would be a terrible rate. So interest rates are really, really low, so that means your buying power is very high as a buyer. So the average sales price of the house versus the list price was actually 99.8% in 2020. In 2019, it was slightly lower than that. It was about 98.9%. So that means that sellers are getting pretty much their asking price, if not more. So buyers, that means that your goal is to make sure that we're paying a fair price for the house and not overpaying for the house. But like Mike was saying, your first couple of days on the market, you don't have that much negotiation power because there's other buyers that are willing to come in.
And it's definitely important as a buyer to get out and see those houses right away. Being there is so many showings, so many offers coming in, you want to make sure you get in and decide whether or not you want to offer on it right away, just so you're not missing any opportunities.
All right. And then what did the average sales price look like in 2020 versus 2019?
It skyrocketed in 2020, so 350,000 was the average sales price, and 2019 it was around 310,000.
Right. So again, if you're a seller, now is a great time to cash in on your equity. And if you're a buyer, don't be scared. Don't be scared with the rising prices or anything else because we've got great interest rates. And honestly, the competition is just going to get a little bit fiercer. So make sure that you get out there today. So do you have any other words of wisdom for the Facebook world?
Yeah, as a buyer, if you're going out and looking at a house and you do already have a house to sell yourself and you're looking to buy something else, we have a lot of buyers getting kind of stuck with wanting to either go and find the place before they sell their house, and it's not always the best case scenario. From a listing agent standpoint, what do you see when you're looking at offers if somebody has to sell their house and versus not sell it?
Right. So a lot of people think that cash is king, right? They think that, okay, well, there's all these different things. But what I would say is that when we're talking with sellers, there's a lot of different factors that we do consider. Not only is it the price that people are offering on the home, but it's the terms that they are offering as well. And one of the terms that we can easily combat is, do you have a house to sell? In this market, it really makes a lot of sense to list your house first, get that accepted offer, and then go out and search for your next house. And I know that that might seem backwards to a lot of you, but it's highly important that you do that because it's difficult to compete with other buyers that are non-contingent. And that means that you miss out on houses or you pay a lot more money. So we don't want you to do that. We want to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position of success. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, make sure that you reach out to us right away so that we can help you and get a good plan for success.
Definitely. And if you have any questions regarding the process or anything like that, our contacts and everything are in the email below. So reach out whenever.
All right. Well, we appreciate you all tuning in to join us on this stunning Tailored Tuesday. I'm Rebekah with the Tailored Realty team.
And I am Mike. And all of us at the Tailored Realty team wish you all a happy new year as well.
Yes, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us at team@tailoredrealtyteam.com. Thank you and have a great day.
Bye.